Here are a few notes about the string pos function, string position. This is the function definition here. We're returning an integer. This is the name of the function. And in parentheses, we have 3 parameters here. This last parameter in brackets, this is optional. You don't need it. In the examples I give, I set it, but you don't have to set it. So the first thing we're going to be looking at are the 2 parameters that we have here. These are going to be normally strings. You're looking for a needle in the haystack is what the analogy is. This is your search string, what you want to look into, the haystack. And this is your string for the needle. This is what you're looking for. So we'll see this in the example. It's commonly referred to as searching for the needle in the haystack. This is a good example for beginners to remind them that this is what we're going to be searching in, and this string is what we're going to be searching for. So you can see the example here in a little bit more detail. The offset at the end is optional, like I mentioned. This is going to offset from the left towards the right. So this is an integer. If you put a 0 in, that particular value there, you're starting at exactly where string pos would start if you didn't have that last parameter there. It would start from the leftmost character of a string, which is the 0 element, like if you're dealing with your arrays. If you place a 1, it's going to actually be the second element, which is 1 after that 0 element, as we explained when we work with arrays. Okay, so if we look at the example, these 2 commands here, both lines of code here, are actually going to do slightly different things here. If our string is the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, then we can start from that first character here, which is actually the 0 character at the T, and we can start to look for quick, and it's going to be found right here. In the second example, we put that optional parameter there, and we specify it as 1, and that's going to start at H and go to the right looking for this string here, quick. So 2 different ways of doing it. We'll start at the H or the T, depending on if you put that extra parameter there. And you can put whatever you want here, as you'll see in the example, up to the length of the string, of course. And we'll see what this is going to return as we get more into the example. So let's take a peek further and work with string pos. There are many ways that you can use find and replace, and we can show you how things work in the find and replace file. So if we have a string here, and then we have one that represents a name and one that represents a job title, we can begin to echo some things out and also create some sort of template type thing here. You see that I have this %sign in place with the word name. That can serve as a template variable. So meaning that %name is something that we want to replace. You can even do something else, for example, to stay away from that, and put double dash or something like that around your template variables. We're going to replace this area. But for this example, we're using %name%. And that's the template string. So if you're working with Word, you might have templates and things like that. There would be a similar way to do this in Word, but not necessarily something that you would do like you would in PHP, of course. But this is the same thing. You're using a string replace function, and you're going to replace that template variable with a variable here. And the template is going to be what you're going to use as the source. So this is the variable that you want to replace. It happens to be in strings here. You want to find that in the template, and this is the replacement. And that's how you do that there. And what is returned is a string with the replacement. So you're not actually dealing with the source. You're not changing that. You're giving it to a destination string. And if we echo that out, you'll see that that is replaced. And you can scroll down and see that there. And this is the original. And there's a job title there as well. The first pass, we just changed that. Brian is now there. And then we change the job title. And we replace it. And you can replace more than one occurrence and things like that. So it's up to you. You have to take a look at the function and see how that works. Now, we'll just take a peek at the top of the file to talk a little bit about string replace. Replaces all occurrences of a string with the replacement string, so as many as are in that file. There are others as well that deal with replacing, and I recommend taking a peek at that. There's also the string pos function, and this is going to find the first occurrence in a file and manipulate that. So we'll take a look at that as well. And then there are going to be other positional type functions that you can have, and you want to take a look at those to see how they're going to help you out. But continuing. So here you can see there are this number of other planets, for example. We create an array that just has numeric values in it, and then we actually do a string replace on $nums, meaning that everything in here as an array we want to replace. We want to replace it with an X. It could be anything, but we want to replace it with an X. Wherever we find a number, meaning that it's going to check everything in this array and replace it. So each character is going to get replaced with an X. And this is our source, and this is our destination, and it's replaced from the string replace function. It's brought out here as the return from this function. And if you take a look at that, you can see that all the numbers are replaced. Very easy. Let's say we have a baby coming. It's a boy, and we have possible names there. Well, let's see. We're going to replace that. We have an array of boys' names that we want to replace, and we'll replace them with girls' names. And it's going to coincide with the exact element number there. And you can see that those are the names up there. So this can have advanced functionality. It doesn't have to be so simplified, but this can be created as a string somewhere in your script, and then later on it's going to be replaced as needed. And then you just do the string replace with the boy's name array and the girl's name array, and then you replace the source string here. You place that there, and it's replaced by the function and returned to new string. The original string is not harmed, and then you can echo it out. And that's exactly what we do here. We replace it. So great, interesting ways to do that. The dealing with arrays part I really like. I think that's really, really cool to do that. And then furthermore, we have the position. We're going to take a string here, echo it out, and then we're going to start at the 1 position here, force a start there instead of 0 or another number. You can put another number there. Check out the function string pos in the documentation. We'll see that string is the source, quick is what we want to find, and 1 is the starting point, like I mentioned. And it's going to return the exact character where that quick is going to start, where the Q starts. And that's what's going to get echoed out. And you can do it again, starting at position 11 here, and replace that with a variable as well. And that's the starting point, looking for the same thing. And we'll see if it was found, because if this is going to be a value here, we're going to have that echo out. Here you see that the string was found at position 4 and it's echoed out. And here you're seeing that this is not found. Quick is not found after position 11, which is somewhere down here. It's not to be found after a certain point, of course. After the Q, it's not going to find quick. So if you try to search on U further, it won't find the word quick. And that's going to go to the else side, because if it's not found, then it's going to return a Boolean false. And that's going to cause a false to come out here with the else instead of a true condition where it's going to be found. And that's how you deal with that. Many exciting things to do with strings, and finding and replacing are two of the more important ones, and you can see that there are many functions that you get to choose from, all having specific help for you and doing many different things.